Damn it. Damn it. I give up. It is rare for a game to be popular enough for its lifespan to last longer than a year or two. Every now and again, it does happen though. Counter-Strike is one such game. Counter-Strike was first created back in 2000 as a mod for the original Half-Life. Hugely popular, Valve got involved by the time the 4th beta version of the mod came out. Eventually, Valve bought the rights to the title and would publish the game later that very same year, following it with CS Condition Zero, Counter-Strike Source, and now Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The game has a rich history and has been at the forefront of esports gaming and rage-inducing Twitch shots for almost 13 years. The question is, does Global Offensive uphold the legacy? Not much has changed in the 13 years since its original release. Valve has operated, for good reason, under the phrase, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. In the classic modes, players still choose between two sides, terrorist or counter-terrorist. Depending on the side, players are then tasked with objectives, relying on objective completion or elimination of the opposing team to win the round. Games are rather lengthy, with teams needing to win up to 8 rounds before moving on to the next map. Global Offensive does introduce some new, slightly different match modes into the fray as well. These modes include Arms Race, Demolition, and Deathmatch. Arms Race is a deathmatch-based mode where each player is rewarded for every kill with a new weapon, with the first player getting a kill with every weapon in a predetermined set, winning the game. Demolition is a round-based mode similar to the traditional game modes, but removes the ability to purchase equipment, instead opting to reward players who manage at least one kill by giving them a new weapon. Deathmatch consists of 10-minute matches, with players vying for the highest score by using different weapons to kill enemies. The number of points changes based on the weapon, and bonus timers make changing weapons often to score extra points a good idea. Strangely enough, both Deathmatch and Arms Race meander away from the traditional formula, in that players instantly respawn after being killed. As always, players can also play offline with bots. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a major facelift for the series. Let's be honest, Source and 1.6 in the current day and age haven't exactly aged very well. In these terms, Global Offensive is a very nice visual upgrade that brings the game back to looking fresh and new. Gunplay works much the same as it always has. Sticking to the game's original and long-running formula, there is no regenerating health, iron sights, instant melee buttons, or kill streaks, only the gun in your hands and the skill at your disposal. The game's traditional weapons from the AK to the AWP make their return. Revamped audio really brings the punch out of guns, with satisfying recoil and animations to boot. Global Offensive returns with many of the classic maps that people came to love over the years. Dust, Dust 2, Aztec, Office, Nuke, Inferno, Italy, and more return in full glory. Hidden Path Entertainment makes slight balancing changes to many of the maps, keeping the core of the map alive but making it slightly less tilted in one team's favor. Thankfully, we do have a few new maps that come with the game, such as Mirage and Vertigo, which are fairly fun to play in their own right. Combine the classics, the new, and the Steam Workshop support, which is constantly putting out new maps for the community to play, and Global Offensive is more robust in terms of accessibility and available maps than ever before. The game was also recently updated with the Arms Dealer. This patch adds in drops at the end of games in the form of both boxes similar to TF2 and weapon skins that can be obtained directly. It adds a nice little aesthetic customization element without altering any of the award-winning gameplay. It's a shame that keys to open boxes cost $250, but I suppose boxes can remain closed for the foreseeable future. I would say that there are plenty of problems with the game, but in all honesty, I think most of them are just created by my mind to try and make up for my shortcomings while playing. I hate the AK. Instant death from sprayed headshots don't fly with me, but at the same time, it really isn't so much a flaw with the game mechanic as a flaw with the fact that I couldn't kill the target fast enough. The only real issue with the game itself I ran across has to do with replayability. There are a relatively small number of maps in the base game, and in very short order I found myself extremely familiar with each one. I found each map after a short while became a run of checking the same spots that are always used rather than experimenting with new strategies. Matchmaking, the quickest way of finding a game, does not use all of the maps available on the workshop but sticks to the default maps, making a player use the server browser if they wish to find anything different. This problem is especially apparent when the only map that ever wins votes is Dust 2. That said, there is one huge problem that I have with Counter-Strike outside of its mechanics. The community from game to game is as intolerant as they come. It reminds me of playing League of Legends, only more volatile and filled with teabagging. It wouldn't be such an issue if the game wasn't meant to only be played online. Given that it is, the community has a huge impact on both incoming gamers and the people who wish to continue playing. Too often are people kicked or ridiculed because they don't conform to what other people want them to do. Didn't shoot a guy because you didn't see him? Too bad, you get the boot. Didn't extend past a barrier because you knew a sniper would kill you? Too bad, here's the boot. Don't even get me started on the number of people who claim others are hacking. The number of times I've seen someone really good get shit thrown at them because they are just that good is appalling. The community aside, the game is still shining just as much as the day it was released back in November of 2000. 13 years later, and the game still remains one of the best competitive shooters on the market, even if its community stems the tide of potential new players and makes grumpy old people like me a little sad. Counter-Strike Global Offensive from Hidden Path Entertainment and Valve Corporation gets an 8 out of 10 and is available on Steam now for $15 or your regional equivalent. Until next time, stay awesome, and cheers.